What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. This is a very fun and exciting video. I have waited so long to film this, so we're gonna get right into it. So in case you're new here, my name is Gabby or Gabs. I announced this on my Instagram and my TikTok, and now I'm announcing it to YouTube, but my husband and I are expecting our first baby. So crazy. It is so crazy, you guys. We are 14 weeks and I think 4 days now. So we're getting out of the first trimester, going into the second. This has been a really hard secret to keep from you guys, but it's also been like kind of nice to just get through the first trimester with my husband and close friends and family as like the support system. But I put up a question box on my Instagram asking you guys what you want to know, whether it's symptoms, how I'm feeling, the experience, and I do have a lot to share from what I've experienced over the last 14 weeks, but I don't want to make this video super long, so maybe this will be like a part 1 and then there might be a part 2. And I also put on my Instagram that I want to do like weekly updates on my pregnancy, so I will be posting videos weekly as we go through this journey together and as baby is ready to come to the world, which is super exciting. Okay, so first things first, let's start with the day I found out, because that was an insane day. I found out I was pregnant on January 5th. So I woke up on January 5th and I was about 5 to 6 days late on my cycle, which I've had a pretty regular cycle for the last few years with some pretty like tough symptoms with my cycle. And I've also been late the last few because of like stress and life, and I was drinking and like all these different things. So whenever I was like 3 to 4 days late, I was like, oh, I've been 3 to 4 days late before, I'm probably just stressed. Then once I hit the 5 to 6 day point, I was like, you know, maybe I should just take a test just to see, like, we're doing husband and wife things and, you know, life happens sometimes, so maybe I'll just try and take a test. And so that morning I ordered 3 tests off of Target because they're like the fastest people to deliver things to our house. And Wade's sound asleep in our room. I'm like anxiously waiting for the pregnancy test to be brought to the house. And I go into our guest bathroom upstairs and I actually recorded taking my first test because I was like, oh my gosh, like if this is legit, like I don't want to miss this moment. So I recorded that, and I guess I can kind of just pop it up here for you guys so you can see how I felt, because it was nuts. It's been like 2 minutes. We're gonna flip it. So as you can tell, I was very shocked, very surprised. I cried a lot. I cried so much. Again, Wade's sleeping, so I'm just in the bathroom, like just having a panic attack, like sobbing, I don't know what to do. And I just kept like pacing in our little bathroom, like just praying, because Wade and I just decided not that long before that day that like we're gonna wait a year to try for kids. We're just gonna focus on, you know, bettering our careers, like getting in a bigger home. Like we had all these plans and ideas, and I think it's always so funny when God's like, you think you're gonna make a plan for your life, but like I have the plan for your life. And I think that this was a perfect like example of, you know, I'm gonna do what I want to do, and I have a perfect plan for you guys, and this is it. So I'm now at peace with that, which is kind of nice. But anyways, crying, panicking, praying, sat in the bathroom for a really long time, and then Wade had to get up to go to work, so I had to like compose myself because I didn't want to tell him yet. I like got out of the bathroom, tried to keep working throughout the day until Wade left for work. As soon as Wade left for work, I texted one of my best friends here and I called 2 of my best friends. And I told 2 of them that I was pregnant, and they're both in Texas. And I immediately started crying to both of them, and they were both super excited, like just amped for me, which was really helpful. And then that night, my best friend Christine came over and I told her, and she talked me through a lot of things. And I think just the first like 5 to 6 days of finding out that I'm pregnant, like I had this deep sense of anxiety and fear and like a sprinkle of excitement, which I feel kind of like bad for saying because I feel like some people find out they're pregnant and they're just over the moon about it, but I just wasn't ready, you know, like this is a huge change. I'm not good at dealing with change, and this is just, I just feel like it kind of just happened, and I didn't give myself time to mentally process it. So I felt really bad for myself at first that like I just wasn't as excited as I felt like I should have been. But I also think I'm not the only person who finds out they're pregnant and their first response is not tears of excitement and joy. It's like tears of like, holy cow, this is happening kind of thing. So if you were one of those moms where you found out you were pregnant and you weren't over the moon excited and you just kind of kept that to yourself because you didn't want people to think that like you didn't want to be pregnant or anything, you aren't alone. Like I literally felt more fear and anxiety for the first few days than I did joy. And then eventually I got to the joy and excitement part of things. So I found out on the 5th. And then the very next day, Christina and I planned a surprise photo shoot in this parking garage. Our story was she really wanted to try it. She had a new camera and lens and she wanted to test it out in this new setting. And so Wade and I went to go do it, and we haven't done a photo shoot in a long time with her. So we went to go get it done, and I hid the pregnancy test in my shoe, and Wade and I were standing back to back, and Christina and I's code was, hey Gabby, like, can you fix your jeans? They look weird. And so she said like, hey, fix your pants. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's time to tell him. And so I went to pull out the pregnancy test, and of course, like, it being me, the little blue cap to the top of the test like fell off and it clanked on the garage cement floor. And so Wade was like, what was that? And then I tapped his shoulder and I was like, I gotta tell you something. And his response, you guys, was hilarious. He literally was like, no the F you don't. And I started dying laughing. He turned around, and just the amount of like shock on his face was priceless. But like, he couldn't stop smiling. I couldn't stop smiling. We were both laughing. Like, it was just one of those moments where I'm just like, wow, like, this is crazy. It was such a memorable moment for us, and it kind of took like, it felt like it took forever for us to like really like hug and embrace over the fact that like this is about to be our new journey. But I think it was only like maybe 20 seconds, but it was really great. And so I told Wade, and then of course he was like, we got to tell my mom. I wanted to tell our friends. And so literally I tell Wade had to go do something for his job. And so after I told him, we left to go to the gym. We worked out after we found out, which is kind of funny. It's very us. And then while he went to go coach a client, I had dinner with some of my friends and told some of my friends as well, which was so cool and exciting. And I documented that too. So it's been really cool to document all these things. Like, I can't wait to continuously look back at everything. And then that night that I told Wade, we told Wade's mom, niece, and brother, which was super exciting. And then I didn't get to tell my parents for like 4 weeks. So there was like a long time where I was like, I just want to call my mom. I just want to tell them. But I know that they would have loved finding out in person. And so we planned a trip to go see them for a weekend. It was a super quick trip, but it was literally just to go tell them in person the big news. And when we got to Houston to tell them, I like had their Christmas gifts still. So I brought all of that. And then to announce like my pregnancy to my parents, I created like this little Christmas box, and on the inside it had like a grandma coffee mug, it had a dad like whiskey glass, and it had my sister's gifts in it too, and a onesie. And so my parents opened it, and it took them a minute. Like, my mom kind of got it right away that, oh my gosh, you're pregnant. And then my dad was like, you're pregnant? Like, his response was great, but he said on the onesie, it says like, can't wait to meet you, Coco and Papa. My mom wants to go by Coco instead of Grandma. Don't know what my dad wants to go by, so I put Papa. And my dad thought that those were names for like dogs, and that we were gonna bring out dogs to come meet him. And that was great. And then my mom was super happy. My dad had to go have alone time for a little bit because he was just so shocked. And then like, give them a couple hours and they're both already embracing being a grandma and grandpa, which was really awesome. And I'm very thankful that I waited to tell them in person. My sister, I told her after I told my parents the next day, and she was like, does mom and dad already know? And I was like, yeah. And then she said, what's its zodiac sign? I gotta know what it's gonna be like. And that's like, if you know my sister, that's a very typical Danny response. So she talked about that. And then, you know, once my whole family knew, it's just been very nice to like be able to talk to my mom about things, to send them pictures and update them. So telling everybody has probably been one of my favorite parts so far, like just sharing the news with so many people. And it's been great to have all of that support, especially going through this first trimester, which was pretty challenging, like physically and mentally, which now that I've told kind of the story of finding out and telling people, I want to transition into what I experienced these first like 14 weeks of pregnancy and how it's been on me. So some questions that I got from you guys really tailored to what were my symptoms, how was I feeling, did I have morning sickness, basically like how different did I feel after finding out I was pregnant. And the biggest symptom I had my first trimester was I was so tired all the time. I could get 9 to 10 hours of sleep and I would wake up tired. And that's never been me. Like I can go to bed late, still get up early with energy and go about my day because that's just like how I'm wired. And I literally would wake up at like 8 in the morning. It'd be like 10 o'clock and I'm like, dang, I need a nap. It was just a feeling of exhaustion I've never experienced. And even Wade can attest to it of like, I was a level of tired that he's never even seen before. And so for me to like nap multiple times a day was very out of character. I didn't have the energy to work out. I didn't have the energy to walk. Like I was just so tired all the time. That was like the biggest symptom that I had was just extreme exhaustion for the first like 8 to 10 weeks. I was just tired every single day. I could do nothing and sit on the couch for 8 hours and I'd still be tired. It was absolutely insane. As far as morning sickness, I never had morning sickness. Thank goodness. I don't know how I would have handled having morning sickness on top of being very tired. So I'm very thankful that, my symptom is literally just exhaustion. Like I'm very thankful for that. And props to you mamas out there who were tired, morning sickness, and having like the most tough battle of a first trimester. Like props to you guys, because I don't know how I would have handled it. And as far as cravings, like I craved all of the nostalgia foods from my childhood. Like I wanted cosmic brownies, I wanted oatmeal cream pies, I wanted Nutter Butters, I craved the dinosaur shaped chicken nuggets with mac and cheese at one point. And like I just wanted all of the foods that made me think of my childhood for some reason. Like that's what I craved. I haven't had anything that was too off the wall. The latest craving that I had that I was very shocked was we were driving one day, Wade and for some reason I had this extreme want of barbecue, and my family knows this, Wade knows this, and some of my friends know this, but like I don't care for barbecue. I come from Texas and I just don't care for it. Like if you ask me what I want to eat, I will never ever list barbecue as an option. If it's present, I might eat it, but it's never something that I want. And then one day I literally was just craving it, and so we went to Missions and I ate so much barbecue. It was not okay in the long run, but I ate it and it tasted so amazing. And that's another thing, food tastes so much better these days. Like I don't know what it is. Even right now, just talking about it, I'm excessively drooling. So it's been crazy to notice that difference too, of like craving really old things that I haven't had in years. Like at least 10 years I've been craving things that I haven't had in so long. Another big question was, how have I modified my training or my lifting? Am I gonna stop lifting? What am I gonna do basically with like my exercise and things like that? And like I said, I was so tired that training 5 to 6 times a week was impossible. Like there was no way I could do it. Like I didn't want to. I had no motivation to go to the gym. Like it was the last thing I wanted to do because I was so tired. And when I would go, I felt fatigued and I felt weaker. So like everything felt like I was lifting a freaking bus. And so I had to tone down the weights that I normally lift the first 8 to 10 weeks of my pregnancy. For example, for squatting, like even just squatting with 45s on felt like I was maxing out at one point. And I was like, wow, like I need to just take a break. And so I would literally just lift like 85, 95 pounds and just do like really slow reps to make sure that I'm okay. So that's been like the biggest change in the beginning, was I just had to really pay attention to like what I could do and give myself grace to know that like you're not weak, like you're growing a child, your body's tired, and if you can't lift heavy things, like it's okay. And that's been a pretty big struggle with me too, I would say, because even like right now I have higher energy, I can lift a little bit heavier, and I still have moments where I'm like, dang, like this was so easy for me like weeks ago and now I can't even do it. And I have to constantly remind myself, like, your body's going through something that it's never experienced ever before. And so it's something that I've never experienced before. And so all of these things that I'm feeling are so new that you need to be okay with the newness. So that's been kind of like a big battle and change that I've been dealing with too. And as far as specific training goes, I'm still keeping my leg days like pretty similar to what I've been doing. I don't do any crazy lifting to begin with. I'm a very basic like bodybuilding lifting style. And so with my leg days, I'm not lifting like nearly as heavy as I believe I can, because I'm really focusing on like bracing my core, working on my pelvic floor, making sure like baby is safe while I'm lifting. So for leg days, I'm just lowering the weight and paying more attention to like just stability and core engagement, just to make sure I'm like not doing anything crazy. And then upper body days have pretty much stayed the same for me. Like I still do the basic movements and still make sure that my core is engaged in everything that I do. And I've also incorporated more like glute specific movements, like body weight stuff. And I've included more hip mobility, more hip opening and stretching, more pelvic floor specific core movements as well, like deeper core work versus like your standard crunches. I mean, I don't do crunches anymore. So those are like the main changes I've done. I got a lot of inspiration from like Hannah Bauer, who I bought her like pregnancy book that helps with training, breathing, and things like that while you're pregnant and post baby. And so I got that I'm reading, and I follow a few accounts that are pretty informational on Instagram and TikTok that help kind of give me ideas on how I should be training or what I should be looking for through the pregnancy, just because I definitely want to lift the entire time, and I just want to make sure that I'm not just doing it to like be healthy for myself and healthy for the baby, but just to prepare myself for labor and delivery. Like I just want to be ready and strong for it. And I'm also trying to incorporate more cardio. So I've discovered that baby loves running. The 4 times that I've ran over 2 miles each time. I haven't ran in forever, and I felt great. Like I felt amazing. So I think baby really loves running and walking. So I'm trying to do more of that. But I will be sharing a lot of my workouts to my Instagram and stuff too, like I normally do. And I'll try to leave like pretty good informational notes like in the captions, just so you can kind of see what I'm doing if you're a new mom and you're just kind of hesitant to know what to do while lifting or how to go about it. So I'll try to share more of that to my Instagram page and also on here as I do my weekly like updates on pregnancies. So I'll do my best to help you guys feel more comfortable and hopefully answer any questions you have about like, how do I lift when I'm pregnant? What do I do? So that's the goal. Another final, well, I guess this is the final, like bigger question I had was, how are you handling like your body changing? And I will say in the beginning, when I first found out I was pregnant to like now even, I've been very like fluffy, which isn't normal for me. Like I'm not like shredded all the time, but I was like, I was bloated like I was on my period for the first like 10 weeks. Like I just felt very fluffy, puffy, like whatever you want to call it. I didn't feel like fat. I just felt not myself. And it was like I'd wake up like that, and as soon as I ate something it got worse. And it's like, I know that my body's going through a lot, but I also knew that when I got pregnant, if I was pregnant, this would probably be like the biggest mental block for me, is like embracing how my body is changing. Not because like I'm afraid to be fat, or like round. I don't want to say fat. I'm not afraid to be like round. I mean, you're growing a child, like your body's going to go through things, but I think it's just because I've never seen my body like this, that it's just, again, change that I just mentally have never like prepared for. So as of right now, like I have days where I wake up and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I have the cutest little baby bump. And then I have moments where I look down and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're bulging out of your leggings. Like what the heck is going on? So weight helps me kind of stay in check with like, hey, you're pregnant, like calm down kind of thing. And also just, I keep trying to like talk to baby too, to remind myself like, you know, like you have a little baby in there. So when you're thinking negative self-talk and speaking negative self-talk, like I try to tell myself like your baby feels that and eventually will hear that. And you don't want that to be like subconsciously imprinted on your baby's brain that you're saying things like this to yourself. So I try to keep myself in mind that it's not just me and this body anymore, it's me and baby. which is, it's a little bit helpful because I know that, you know, negative self-talk isn't good for myself in general, so it's definitely probably not good for baby. But as far as, you know, my strength or my muscle definition or how my body is changing, I know my glutes and legs have gotten a lot fuller. Like my butt's gotten so big that I'm shocked at how big it's getting, and I feel like it's only gonna get bigger, which I know girls, I know that's your goal, is you want big butts, but right now, like, I'm content with where mine was, and now it's just getting bigger. So there's that. My boobs were one of the first things to change for sure. Like, I haven't had a big chest since like middle school maybe, so this is all new for me. Like, it's just things are getting bigger and wider fast. And I don't think I'm eating bad. I don't think I'm eating too much to where like I'm encouraging that. I literally think my body's just preparing for labor, labor is preparing for pregnancy, which is insane that your body just naturally knows what to do to make the pregnancy work. It's insane. So now that I've given you guys kind of a review or like a flashback of everything that has gone on up to this point, now that I'm at 14 weeks and a few days, I guess currently I don't have any weird cravings. Yeah, I don't really have anything weird going on right now that's like abnormal for me, so food intake is good. I actually like am struggling with like feeling hungry, and I don't know if that's because I'm eating enough that like I'm just not hungry, or if I'm just not craving anything so it's not making me feel hungry. I don't know, but I'm just making sure that I'm eating enough for me and baby. Energy levels are really good. I feel a lot better than I did the first 10 weeks, which is great. Like, I don't feel as exhausted until the end of the day, which is pretty normal for me. As far as growth wise, I did go through a few days where like I get really bad like cramp feelings or back pain. That's another symptom that I had through the first trimester that I forgot to say, is I've had such intense low back pressure pain. Not like, I have a high pain tolerance, so it's not something that I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can't walk, but it's just very uncomfortable. So my low back has been pretty sore and is now getting better. And then I had like round ligament pains for like a whole day recently, where like everything just felt so like stretched and sore, and it's just because like, you know, baby's growing, my hips and everything are just shifting for the baby, so like I get it, but it's pains that I've never really experienced ever. So whenever it happens, I'm like, oh my gosh, like did I just do something? And I have to like immediately remind myself like, no, like your body's changing, because I'm definitely one of those moms where I need to work on my fear of change and anxiety and worrying about baby, because the first few weeks, like I would cry to Wade. I'm like, I'm cramping. What if I'm doing something wrong? What if something's happening? And like, it's literally just, it's growing. It needs room. Your body needs to get bigger. Like, it's just so weird that it's like a fear I've never experienced. I'm just so afraid that I'm going to do something wrong, or that like I'm hurting the baby or something, but it's not. Like my body is just doing what it naturally does. And y'all, pregnancy's weird. It's absolutely insane. But anyways, back to how I'm feeling now. No cravings, energy is good, workouts are good. I'm back to my normal bodybuilding split. I'm gonna try and incorporate 2 to 3 cardio sessions a week, and I'm going to try and incorporate like more stretching, and just really listening to my body and try to remind myself like, you're not trying to be like mega strong and maxing, you're just trying to be healthy and able to deliver a baby safely. That's my goal. Oh, some of you guys asked me if I have baby names. We do have names picked out, but I'm the kind of person that doesn't want to share because I don't want people stealing our baby names. So I'm not going to share on here until after we announce like what it is, when we're ready to announce it, but I just don't want people stealing our baby names, so I will not share that. And some of y'all asked about the gender, and we will share the gender eventually, the socials and stuff like that, but right now we don't know, and we're not going to share, but we will. So I will keep you guys posted on that. And I guess that's really all that I have for this like really quick 14-week update up to this point on pregnancy. If you guys have any questions, or if you want to know more, like comment down below, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss this pregnancy journey. Like this video if you're excited for us, maybe, and I'll catch you guys at the next baby update. Yay!